Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here, and joined by a very special guest. He's not a guest; he's part of the show now. He is the show. He is a former high school football coach, well known of Burnett, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan. I get it wrong every time. All right, I'll get it right next time. I promise you, Coach. He's also was a former college football player at Abilene Christian, coached at Abilene Christian several stints as well. Also now doing great business. Go check out SHipleyRanches.com. He's got a lot of accolades and achievements on his resume. I can't list them all, but I'm really grateful that he is here with us to talk ball on Football Theory. Coach Bob Shipley. What's going on, Coach?
Hey, thanks, Rod. Man, I'm just, things are just getting more exciting by the day. I mean, wrapped up a great signing day and, just carrying this momentum on into this playoff game, man. It's an exciting time to be a Longhorn, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, man. It feels like this might be one of those, I don't know, I don't want to jinx it. Feels like you might want a golden era of Texas sports, period, man. Shout out to the volleyball team. It's won back-to-back national titles. It seems like all the sports seem to be at a really high point. They seem to be performing and achieving at a really high level. So that's a great thing. So let's talk Texas football. Of course, Texas versus Washington. Everybody's really excited about it. Why wouldn't you be? College football playoff. First of all, Coach, are you going to this matchup? Are you going to New Orleans?
I'm not. I'm going to be hanging out with Jordan and Jackson and my 10 grandkids.
Okay. And, how many?
Yeah. And
how many?
Yeah, 10.
10.
Well, actually, Rod, my wife passed away a couple of years ago, the boy's mother, and I just got remarried, actually, June.
Congrats.
So now I got 13 grandkids.
Oh, that's right. You added. Yeah.
I added 3. I got the good deal. She added 10. That's bad for her. Good for me. I added 3. And the oldest one's 8 years old. So, man, we got 13, 8 and under running around. It's crazy, but we're only going to have 10 of them at Burnett. We're going to be down at Burnett at Jordan's house. He's built a nice place out there on the golf course. And
nice.
We're going to be watching the bowl games and grilling and chilling. We'll get out our guitars, play a little Merle Haggard, and pick a sing a little bit with Jordan and his wife. And, it's going to be a good time. So I thought I was going to go, but they talked me out of it. So
that's all right, Coach. You can go to Houston. That's all right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I'm ready for that.
Too. I was like, I can't handle New Orleans. I just had a baby girl, so she's like 3 months old. I'm not going to leave my wife with a baby girl or drag them both to New Orleans. So I'm not going to do that. But in H-Town, where I'm from, I got family there. My dad's there. My brother's there. I can always drop off, my baby girl with them and head to the game. So I'm keeping up my hope and optimism. I don't have to go to the Sugar Bowl because I'll be at the national championship in H-Town.
I'm with you.
I'm
with you. Well, let's do a show down there from Houston.
Yeah, there you go. Now, hey, Coach, I'm in. There you go. Let's start making plans. What do you say, Coach? Plan on success. Plan to be successful. There you go, Coach. All right. That's why I'm glad that you're joining us. All right, let's get right to it. Let's not waste any time. We got so many different topics that we want to get into. This time we're going to preview the Texas offense versus the Washington defense. We're going to get into that matchup a little bit. And, Coach, I think for me, one of the biggest I would say one of the biggest factors in success for the Texas offense is definitely going to be their ability to stay ahead of the chains and stay on schedule. I think that's going to be huge because one of the few areas actually where Washington defense excels is when they get opponents in third down, specifically in third and long situations. I went back and did the numbers and Washington opponents when they are in third and long situations. They have allowed 0 touchdowns in that scenario. Third and long, by the way, it's third and what's third and long to you, Coach? I was always taught 7+ yards.
7+ to me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was always taught. So 0 touchdowns they've allowed in that situation, 4 interceptions that they've allowed in that 48% completion percentage, 65 passer rating for opposing quarterbacks. And I looked at Texas's conversion rate on third and long, and Coach, they're right at 32. They're close to 33. You can round it up. 33% conversion rate. So you're basically only converting a third of your third and longs. You got to stay out of third and longs.
Can't do it.
Can't do
it. No, can't do it. And the thing that got us in trouble a little bit, in my opinion, earlier this season is we were taking shots on first down. And so you take your shots on first down, and we've had some success, but you're also rolling the dice a little bit in a game like this because there's no redos. I mean, it's you lose and you go home. So I like the fact that we've been, I like the high percentage passes on first down. I do like throwing the ball on first down, which we'll talk about a little bit. But you've got to be able to get yourself in a third and manageable, because like you said, you're matching up against one of their most impressive. They don't have a lot of impressive defensive statistics, but that one is. But that one is probably the most impressive defensive statistic they have, is their ability to shut people down on third and long, which, the percentages are not going to be that great for anybody on third and long, but they've been really good at it. And so for us to be able to do that, we're going to have to make positive yardage on first and second, so I think that's going to be a really, really big key for us, is to take, I like throwing on first down, but let's throw high percentage passes on first down without, getting those numbers up there on that third and long.
I'm glad you brought that up, Coach, about the first down shots, the deep shots on first down. I actually calculated last season with Sark's deep shots on first down, and half of his deep shots last year were on first down. And they weren't necessarily good at completing or converting those. So what you end up with is second, all right, and 10 usually when you don't convert those. And then you're in a situation where, unless you got a Bijan or Rojo in the backfield, you're severely hamstrung in what you can do, and you end up with a third and long situation. But I will give Sark a lot of credit. He has evolved coaching. He has curtailed those deep shots downfield. We don't see those as much anymore on first down. Now they're way more calculated shots, and they're not necessarily overwhelmingly on first down. He's not chasing the deep ball. He's waiting until the defense is going to be, I would say, most vulnerable to the deep ball, which is what I love about what Sark has done. We'll get back to that. That's an interesting conversation. The one thing that, not one thing, but like we talked about, there are certain areas of defense where Washington excels. They don't for the most part. I'll give you the coach just talked about the defense statistics for Washington. They're 50th in scoring defense, 122nd in pass defense, 93rd in total defense. They are third down defense. They're 84th. If you go look at their red zone defense, 118th, 72nd in red zone touchdown defense. But here's something that I thought was interesting, Coach. Explosive plays allowed in the passing game. Went back and looked at this about Washington. How about this, Coach? 103rd in 10-plus yard pass plays allowed, 111th in 20-plus yard pass plays allowed. And by the way, Texas is 97th in 10-plus yard pass plays allowed. 72nd, though, in 20-plus yard pass plays allowed. When you look at 30-plus yard pass plays, Washington 123rd, Texas 93rd. When you look at 40-plus pass plays, Washington 125th in the country. They give up chunk yards in the passing game. And this kind of gets me to where and you brought this up, Coach, that you like to throw on first down. And if you go look at the most successful passing down in football today, it is first down, because defenses are geared and programmed to think run on first down. And Sark likes to throw on early downs, especially situations. Now, if you look at the first down pass rate for Texas right now, it's about 45%, between 45 and 50%. Coach, in this matchup, I would hypothesize that Sark should up the first down pass rate a little bit. First of all, I just gave the numbers. They're susceptible and vulnerable to the pass. Their rush defense, they're 40th. It's one of the better parts of this Washington defense is their rush defense. They're actually pretty good there. I would say stay away from their strength, especially on early downs. You talked about keeping a defense on their heels, keeping them guessing. I think Sark can do that with some high, like you pointed out, Coach, high percentage passes on first down. You point out the first down numbers for Texas. Texas first down numbers are pretty good throwing the football. But when you look at the Washington defense and what they allow on first down, to me, I think that's where Texas could have a distinct advantage. Their pass defense is actually at its poorest when they're defending the pass on first down.
Yeah, they're giving up, 260, 70 yards a game passing, which is, it's really not that bad considering the league that they're playing in.
Yeah.
But I, kind of going back to what we were talking about before we started taping this show, you and I were kind of talking about, doing things to keep the defense guessing a little bit, and that's one thing when you got Braylon Trice sitting over there at defensive end, 3rd and long, he's teeing off, man.
Yeah,
he's coming at you. I think you mentioned he had a couple of sacks against us last season.
2 sacks, two tackles for loss in that game.
Yeah. And so you got to keep that guy guessing, first of all, and we'll probably talk about him more in a minute. But I like the fact that Sark has not been real predictable, especially as of late, which you and I were also talking about this, the fact that we've noticed what Sark has been able to do this season, but the other Big 12 coaches have noticed what Sark has been doing. In fact, we talking about anonymous Big 12 defensive coordinator, had some really nice things to say about Sark. What do you have to say, Rod?
Yeah, it's a great quote. Comes from an article in The Athletic that you're referring to, Coach. And here's one of the excerpts from that article. Is from an anonymous coach in the Big 12. And he says, quote, about Sark's play calling ability. He has little to no tendencies. If he has one, he breaks it the next week. His in-game adjustments are elite. We played a stack man concept to a route we thought was coming, and he had a counter that we had never seen that was something off an and one mixtape. He's patient in his play calling as he leans on the run game and perimeter pass game, and is very calculated when he takes shots. In my opinion, the fact that he didn't get Big 12 Coach of the Year was a snub, as big of a snub as I've seen, considering the job he's done with the team. The sad part is it's the coaches that vote on this, so it tells you it's more about Texas leaving the conference than it is about the most deserving coach. But you're right, Coach. Here's that quote there, and you just referenced it. I remember specifically because I've rewatched that damn Alamo Bowl like 5 times now, so I can remember a lot of tidbits from it. The announcers, they brought up the fact that the defensive coordinator from Washington remarked at one point he did not believe that Sark had the patience to march down the field with the underneath passes and the quick game and the short game. That at one point he would become impatient and take his shots, and you can defend those shots or basically keep Texas from converting those, then they'll end up in 2nd and longs, 3rd and long situations. That's when Braylon Trice, like you point out, tees up. But we're watching a much more evolved Steve Sarkisian now, Coach, where the shots downfield are more calculated. All right. He's more patient in his approach to exposing teams and their vulnerabilities. And they said in the quote here said he's patient in his play calling. That was one thing that even the defensive coordinator from Washington last year realized. He was not very patient last year. He was taking shots. You remember that Oklahoma State game, Coach? He's like taking shots, broke hand, X-Man, quarterback with a messed up hand, wind swirling, and with deep Bijan in the backfield, and he's taking shots downfield, chasing that deep ball. He's not that coach anymore, man. He's growing real time, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. I think the job that he's done scripting his first couple of series has been outstanding, especially in the big games. And I really think, I'm hoping that we'll see that the first series showing some stuff he hasn't shown, maybe some play action, some leaking the tight end out, backside stuff that he hasn't done before. It really keeps the defense off balance when you do that. And he'll throw some wrinkles in, and I can't remember what game it was, 2 or 3 games ago. You got a wheel route, and then you follow the wheel route with another follow. The wheel. Everybody's run off, and I mean stuff like that he comes up with. He and the staff. I'm sure it's not just all Sark, but that kind of stuff really gets the defense off balance. And if you can get that defense off balance the first couple of series, it can really make them question their month of preparation. You have so much time to prepare for this game. You can kind of get locked into some stuff that you have convinced yourself that you're going to see, and this is what we got to do to stop them. Now, all of a sudden, all that stuff's out the window. You're seeing stuff you haven't seen before. And so then it comes back to instinct ball. And so what I have seen Texas this year is we're a team of momentum. We get momentum, and everything's good. And I think we talked about this last week's show. You get a lead, and you're playing fast, and everything's going good, and we practice fast. Everything we do is fast. The coaches coach off the film. They don't coach on the field during practice whenever we're doing team stuff, because everything's fast paced, get as many reps in as you can. Then all of a sudden you get a big lead and you want to try to keep the ball away from the opponent's offense. And so you slow down. And when you slow down, you're getting out of your rhythm. And, it's just, it can create problems. And we like momentum. I think we're a team that thrives on momentum. And one of the reasons that I think we've been successful the last few games, more successful, haven't been letting people stay in the game, is because we've kept our foot on the gas a little bit more. I understand the fact that you want to slow down a little bit, maybe in the second half, to keep the ball away from the opponents. You also have to look at this. You've got, we may have talked about this too, but the more plays you run, the faster you run those plays, the more fatigued your players are going to be. And also the more plays you run, the better chance of injury you have. So, you in the season, you look at those things and you're trying to get out of the game with a win. That's all you're trying to do, but now we have to keep our foot on the accelerator. So I really hope we get in a good rhythm those first couple of series and just get the momentum, because when we lose the momentum, it's difficult to get it back sometimes.
Yeah, Coach, you're so right about that. I mean, even when Sark had his first year where they were getting up big, right, double-digit leads, it was because they were riding this wave. Because honestly, Coach, I think he's a momentum play caller. I think he rides a wave of emotion. When he's an emotional play caller. You've seen him. He kind of gets in a little zone. Some coaches are very cerebral. I think Sark actually likes it. My man Shannon's like this, Kyle Shannon. They use the emotion. They want the emotion of the moment, the emotion of the environment to actually affect them. And sometimes I guess it can be a negative thing. You get to the momentum of losing that. And I think sometimes Sarko, he gets caught up in that, right? And we've seen at times, Texas lose that momentum, and then it also avalanches the other way, where the other team comes back from 20-something points down. So I think they just kind of been a momentum team, which is why you talked about the start, Coach. The start is key. And Sark, I'll give him credit. In big games, usually his scripts are magnifico. They're fantastic. And he says he scripts the first 20 plays. And, he wants to start off with the pass. I think he wants to open up the game with the passing game. I think he wants to assault the defense essentially with the pass. And he wants to close games out ideally with the run. That's his big humans. He did it versus Bama. He did it on the road versus Iowa State. I think that's ideally how he wants the games to go, from script to finish. And that's why I think in this game, getting back to your momentum point, Coach, I think you're around the money there. I think you got to throw early. And I think you got to throw on first down early. Here's the numbers for Washington defending passes on first down. They're allowing 66% completion percentage, over 8 yards per attempt, 148 passer rating. They've allowed 10 touchdowns, which is more than they've allowed on third and fourth down combined. They've only got 2 interceptions. By the way, they're 5th in the country. They're top 10 in interceptions. They got 16 interceptions on the season. It's a team that's really good at taking the football away. And that's because on third and long, that's where a lot of those interceptions come, because they know teams are in predictable passing situations. If you go look at, a team like them, like Washington, the way they're built, I think you can put them on their heels early on, coming out to throw. Texas is really good throwing the football on first down. It's their most successful passing down as well. It's the poorest defensive down for Washington in terms of pass defense. If I am Texas, I think I throw early on, and then I supplement with the run game once I have. I'm not saying you throw on every first down, but I would throw on more first downs. Against Oklahoma State, that first down pass rate is around 55%. And that's more than Sark usually is. He's around between 45 and 50%. I would boost it to about 60-65%. That's where your advantage lies. It's not in the run game. Their rush defense is pretty good. And if they stop you on early downs, they got an All-American there, linebacking core. The linebackers are really good. Vernon Trice is a dude. They're 40th in rush defense. They've actually had some success stopping teams in the run. If Texas can't run the football, and they couldn't run it last year against them, then they had to become one-dimensional. I think this year you want the balance, but early on, like Sark likes to do, I would attack them with the pass on early downs.
Yeah, I would look, and I would look first early in the game, first and second series, at us doing some formations and some motions and throwing some stuff at them that Washington hasn't seen. And I think Sark does that really well, as we were talking about from his film study. Every defense is giving up something, as we've talked about, and so he's going to show them right off the bat what they're susceptible to. And as I said, I think you take a little bit of the aggression away from the defense when you can keep them off balance like that. And I just think it's very important. You look at the games where we've had success first drive, games where we get stuffed and we have to punt it. It's just that momentum that we talked about. We need to have success early, and then I think you can throw all the statistics out after that. I think, because now you've got a team that's just playing on instinct, playing football. Defensive coordinator starts, wondering, okay, well, man, he's had a lot of time to prepare for us. He ain't running anything like I thought he was going to run, at us or whatever. And then you get them loosened up a little bit. Then you give them a dose of running the ball and mixing it up with good with play actions. But, it's interesting. We're looking at one of the quarterbacks, Jabbar Muhammad Jr. You know where he played last year?
Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State, yeah. They beat us, remember?
Yeah, you're right.
And, and he had a fairly decent game against us last year. And so he is the leader on that. In fact, I think he may be the only player in that secondary that was an all-conference player, maybe even second team as well. Maybe they had a safety that was second team, but he's an all-conference player along with Trice. And, he's a guy that I'd be looking for secondary-wise who can do a good job of covering our guys up.
Yeah, I think he honestly, Coach, he's kinfolk. He's related to Malik Muhammad.
Oh, is he really? Yeah. He's from DeSoto High School.
Yes, I want to say, I don't know exactly what the relation is, second cousin, whatever it may be, but he is related to Malik Muhammad. That is out there too. Yeah. You're right. And by the way, he's like the shortest of the. I think he's the best coverage defender, like you said, Coach. And he's the shortest. The one thing I like about their secondary, they're long and rangy, man. They're long. He's 5'10", about 180. 3 interceptions, 12 PBUs. He's a player. He's a good player. Yeah. But then they got this guy, Michelle Powell. He is 6'1", 210, got 3 picks on the year. Darren Hampton, he's 6'3", 93 tackles. He's very active. They got Elijah Johnson. He's about 6'1", 190. I believe it is Thaddeus. I think it's Thaddeus Drew, if I'm not mistaken, 6'1", 190 as well. They're long. Yeah, and that's one of their traits. I think that's why they end up getting their hands on so many footballs. They got like I said, they got 16 interceptions on the season. And what they do when they do actually get someone in a predictable passing situation, that's when these DBs can shine, because they run a lot of what are simulated pressures. Texas has done really well versus simulated pressures recently, but they have had trouble at times. Iowa State game early on. Rice, first game of the season, Rice was running some simulated pressures. Baylor last year. There have been times where Texas had trouble blocking simulated pressures. Looks like a blitz, smells like a blitz, but it's not. They're sending 3 or 4, dropping 7 or 8. You just don't know which 3 or 4 they're sending and from which level. And that's all about offensive linemen being able to pass off, pass rushers. And some of the young offensive linemen had trouble with that. But I think they'll be ready for that, because Washington's top 10 rate of simulated pressures in the country. You can't run simulated pressures on early downs, really. You're running them on predictable passing downs. You stay out of that, and that is one of their kind of bread and butter concepts defensively, Coach. And you can also keep Braylon Trice from pinning his ears back. And this is a guy we got to talk about, Coach, before we get out of here, because he's a problem. Now, if you're going to be passing, now, I love what you said. If you're going to pass on first down, quick, high percentage passes, long handoffs, extensions of the running game. And we know Quinn is accurate. Ball placement is key for the quick game, and he can put the ball on the money with those quick passes. And I think that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about taking shots or even getting that vertical downfield. You can do some of that creatively, but we're talking about easy completions, RPOs, which is the combination of the quick game and the run game on first down. But if you do end up in a predictable passing situation, Coach, how do you block Braylon Trice? That's what I want to know, because this is a guy that had 70 pressures last season. He led college football in pressures. He's got 70 again in 2023. He's got 49 pressures since week 9. So he's averaging almost 10 pressures per game since week 9. He is a man amongst boys. Right now he's trending toward being a first round pick. He had 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks versus Texas last season. How do you block this guy, Coach? What do you do if you have to throw the football?
Well, evidently these $1 million coaches hadn't figured it out yet. So I don't know if this ranch real estate guy out in Abilene, Texas is going to figure it out.
Shot, Coach. You're the best chance we got.
Yeah, but I what I'd look for Sark to do is sometimes a guy like that, you can dictate a little bit where he's going to line up by by your stance, by wider splits perhaps, tight end on his side, a wing, tight end and a wing on his side, maybe chipping him with a back, a back check before he released to his, which normally the back's going to be a safety valve, on most drop back passes, but chipping him with a tight end, maybe keeping a tight end in some to help with him, or the tight end, like I said, chip him on the delay route. Man, it's going to be tough. I mean, he's going to get his pressures. No, I haven't seen anybody that slowed him down a whole lot this year, but I think you keep him guessing on his passing downs, and you try to dictate a little bit through your formation, your alignment, at least where he's going to line up and make it a little bit difficult for him, and then chip him when you can with a tight end or a running back coming off, and throw some quick passes. You're not going to be able to sit back there all day with the ball because he's just too good. He'll get there.
Sounds like you're just basically talking about making him work for everything, Coach.
That's right.
Him work. You got to every down. He's a great player. He's going to be a first round pick. He's a great player, but you got to make him work on every downs by the fourth quarter. Hopefully you've worn him down a little bit, and then you can try to get him in the run game because he's a difference maker against the pass. He's one of the best pass rushers in the country, but against the run, I don't know if he's an elite defender versus the run. He's a good defender versus the run.
He is. He is.
I don't know if he's elite necessarily. So I think Texas keep him guessing. I like what you said about that, Coach. But also something else I want to get into, and we've talked about Sark, his creativity. I noticed this watching the Alamo Bowl last season. Like I said, I've watched that game way too much. This is what coaches do, right? They watch stuff over and over again.
I know.
You're right. Paralysis by analysis, and you start thinking
exactly.
It's got to be this way. That's why it's important in big games, guys, to break tendency. Because coaches, they get caught up on tendencies and trends and all this stuff, and then you go into a big game. It's like, I've never seen that. I couldn't prepare for that. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Like, guys,
sometimes I think sometimes you can have too much time. Then you start second guessing yourself. Instead of going with your gut, 30 years of instinct or whatever it is that you have built up. You like you said, you overanalyze so much, you start doubting yourself, second guessing. Typically they've got like 5 or 6 days, well, really 2 days to get a game plan together.
You're right. To come up with, then install it. Yeah. Hey, Coach, it's crazy you brought that up. You know who said that? Sean McVay, after he lost to Bill Belichick, he said that. He said, I went too deep. He said, I went too deep into it. He said, I overanalyzed everything. And he said, I think it hurt my team. It hurt my play calling. He said, I end up coaching tight. I end up calling the game tight because I overanalyzed everything. Instead of there is a certain element. That's a balance, right? You want to break tendency, but you also, hey, what did the late great DKR say? Dance with what brung you. You still got to dance with what brung you. Now, how you get there? You got there because you do something better than everybody else. You got to dance with what brung you. So it's a nice balance you got to have there. Okay, let me ask you about this. So I was watching the game. And I noticed in that matchup versus Washington, and I think I know why, there were no two tailback sets. There were no 2-back sets. In 2022, that was a bigger part of the offense because you had Bijan and Rojo. Bijan and Rojo weren't available for the bowl game. So that may be why they didn't have any 2 tailback sets. There was also no 6 O-line package in the game last season. No, they call it the Big 12, Big 11 package. Malik Agbo's the extra offensive lineman. And I wonder if Sark was a little tight. And I know Jay Brooks was hurt That'll be a big reason why. So they only played Jay Brooks and Keelan Robinson. Keelan Robinson, not your traditional runner. So I think the running game just suffered overall. And Sark really didn't know how to boost the running game at the time. But I gotta tell you, Coach, I've been keeping track of it for like 3 years now. Actually, before Sark even got it, so 4 years now. And I BS you not, 21 personnel, like in the pony package with 2 tailbacks, easily the most effective, most explosive, and the most efficient personnel grouping on the 40 acres. For the honestly, you can even take it back before Sark, but I would say in the Sark regime, and that's you would think, oh, that's because they had Bijan and Rojo on the field the whole time. It actually is not, because this season it still rang true. It was still far and away your best personnel grouping in terms of yards per play, yards per attempt, explosive play rate. First of all, I wanted Sark to use it more, and I wonder in this game, will he use it even with the injuries to guys, because he's still using it down the stretch. But why do you think Sark was relegated? Was it only because of the personnel available that he relegated the offense last season to just 11 and 12 personnel?
I would think so. I would think so. But one thing it looks like to me he's done this year is kind of go more with 2 tight end sets.
Yes, he does.
He's got Helms in there a lot with Sanders, and I mean, crap, as well as there have been years we wouldn't even have a tight end hardly even get in the game.
No, endangered species.
but we're playing more with 2 tight end sets than we are 2 backs. I don't know what the breakdown is. I haven't looked at it.
He's about 40%, Coach. He's about 40% in 2022. He's about 40% of 12 personnel, and about close to 50% of 11 personnel. And that shifted this year because they love the 6-0 line package. So they're actually probably close to 35% actual 12. They're probably close to about, I don't know, maybe 8 to 9% of the 6-0 line package. Then you throw in about 10% of 21 personnel, and they're still 50% 11 personnel for most of the year, though. But he loves 12. 1 back, 2 tight ends. That's his second favorite package, personnel-wise.
Yeah. Seems like I've seen more of it as the season has progressed this season. And that could be a way that you handle Trice. Going back to Trice, one more thing that a guy like him keep you from doing unless you can figure out a way to get 2 guys on him is a guy like Trice could pretty much eliminate the double move routes. You're not going to have time for a double move route. And sometimes those are the ones you go, how did the guy get so wide open? Double moves, it takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of time for those plays to develop. And that's a good home run shot on a double move. But, unless you can almost guarantee by your formation and by your blocking, the pass blocking scheme that you called, where you can get 2 guys on him, I wouldn't be seeing us do too much.
Could you getting back to the 6-0 line package, because they didn't use it last year, the Big 12, Big 11. Could you use it this year? And basically in this matchup, when you do want to take your vertical shots and you need some extra time, put them out there, 6-0 linemen, and then wherever Braylon Trice is, we motion them, we shift them over there. We're looking for Braylon Trice.
Do you count T-Sweat as an offensive lineman when he's in the back catching touchdown passes, 2-point plays, whatever he was in on?
That big ugly package, right? Them jumbos, baby. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, well, I want to end it on this because I think we've kind of hit every little nugget. Also, by the way, his name Zach Durfee should be known for Longhorn fans. I brought him up earlier. He was a transfer from Sioux Falls. Had double-digit sacks, double-digit tackles for loss at Sioux Falls. Kalen DeBoer, that's where he kind of came up as a coach at Sioux Falls. And Kalen DeBoer says he's a dude. He says, because they just cleared him to be eligible for the bowl game. He's been there a year, but he's only been on the scout team because he hasn't been eligible to play. I don't even know what jersey number he's going to wear because he hadn't played at all. But Kalen DeBoer says that he's been given their starting offensive tackles because he's playing scout team fits all season long. Brock Hewitt says that Washington fans are going to watch the game and wonder who the hell that guy is because he's a dude. He said he's an explosive 260-pound playmaker. So Kalen DeBoer's talked real good about him. Brock Hewitt actually talked really good about him. He covers Washington. Nobody's seen this guy. There is no, you can go watch Sioux Falls film on him, but there ain't no film of him, how Washington's going to use him. But you will see him in the bowl game. Caleb DeBoer has said it, and Brock Stewart said it, their insider. So that's why you want to stay out of predictable passing situations. You don't want to see Durfee on one side and Braylon Trice on the other. You don't want it.
You're a machine, Rod. You're a machine. You got a little baby at home, man. How do you have time to do all the research that you do?
Hey, got to multitask, Coach. Got to multitask.
You're amazing, man.
Hey, Coach, I appreciate it, Coach. I got a great team. I got a great team. You know how that goes. Let's end it on this, Coach. You brought this up in our pre-show discussion about Texas and Washington. They obviously both teams are elite. They're great teams. That's why they're in the playoff, and that's why they're in this matchup. But Texas, man, right now they just seem to be trending the right way. And if it's possible, are they hotter? Now, listen, Washington's undefeated. So I don't know if you can be hotter than an undefeated team, but it's possible that Texas is trending better than Washington.
Well, you know, the last 4 games Washington's played, they've won by a little less than 3.5 points a game, you know. And our last 3 games have been double digits. Well, actually, the last 2 games, of course, were blowouts. You know, blowouts. And so I think we're peaking at the right time, as you said, like our volleyball girls did. They peaked at the right time. And there's no doubt that our staff realizes when you have to peak and when you have to be good. This ain't Sark's first rodeo, you know. Interesting. I read, you know, he realized he's coached 3 of the 4 teams in the playoffs, you know, and had success with all of them.
I didn't even think about that, Coach.
Yeah,
I really did not even think about that.
Yeah, and you know, it ain't his first rodeo, and so he's got us peaking at the right time. Again, I think that has to do with the fact that he's like, man, forget trying to, you know, we're just going to keep our foot on the gas. We're going to keep momentum through the entire game. And if we can do that, then I'm not saying we're going to have a double-digit win, but I do think we'll win the game. Whether it's by double digits, I don't know that I'd be that brave. But it's going to. I mean, everybody's predicting a high-scoring game, and when you look at it, I don't see how it's not. I mean, they know how to score, and you know, we can put up some touchdowns pretty fast as well.
If Texas plays red zone offense like they played versus Oklahoma State, they will beat Washington, and they'll beat whoever else they play in the national title game too. The one thing that's been holding back this offense pretty much all season long has been their horrible play in the red zone. They just have been a bad red zone team. Nothing wrong with that, and no team is perfect. All right, everybody's got flaws, and one of their flaws has been red zone offense. But against Oklahoma State, they were 5 of 5. If that team plays like that in the red zone, Coach, I don't know if anybody can play with them. Well, that was part of what held them back. They'd have to kick some field goals here and there. They'd mess up a red zone possession, cost them some points. If Texas is going to score touchdowns every time they get in the red zone like they did versus Oak State, good luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's going to be fun, man. And everybody, everybody's got opinions. Everybody's got, but I think you got things nailed down pretty good, man. You're the machine. I'm glad to be working with you, man. You're throwing out all those facts. I'm like, golly, how does this guy have time to look up all that stuff?
Hey, Coach, I appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you, coming from a ball coach like yourself, no doubt. And we are honored to have you on Football Theory with us, and I'm glad we're gonna get it going. We'll have another. I believe we're gonna get one more in before the game. We'll get one more preview in.
One more before the game. That's right.
One more. All right, Coach. Well, I appreciate the time as always, Coach. Please enjoy the family and the holidays. Tell the Shipley family that I said Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. All right, let them know that.
We'll do it, man. You give that baby a big old kiss for Uncle Bobo. All right, that's what my grandkids call me, Bobo. So,
I will. I'll do that. Hey,
I'm going to get her a Shipley Ranch's cap in the mail.
Hey, please, you know what, Coach? Let that happen. I will wear it. I will represent, man. Hey, I will represent. All right, Coach. Well, thank you for that, Coach. And thank you guys for joining us once again. We'll be back next week for another edition of Football Theory. Everybody have a happy holiday. Merry Christmas, everybody out there. And hook 'em.